Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast that Meatloaf, R.I.P., Yul Brynner, and the residents of the Shaftesbury Retirement Home do not want you to hear. It's Monkeys and Playbills, y'all!
What a mess!
Believe it or not. We're going to touch on all of those things in today's episode.
Oh, hi everyone. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, listeners. Hi.
I'm Paul DeGurse.
I'm Jillian Willems.
Joining us today is our producer, Daphne Finlayson.
Hi, I pressed record to make sure we had something.
And welcome back to another episode of Monkeys and Playbills.
We're going to do things a little differently today.
We absolutely are, because, Jill, typically on Monkeys and Playbills, we talk about musicals. We talk about Broadway musicals that had runs of 100 performances or fewer on Broadway.
And what the heck happened?
That's not what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to talk about 3 musicals that had runs of under 100 performances on Broadway.
And what the heck happened?
This is a format listeners of the show will know as a revive or die, a format that we like to do on this show. But we're changing things up a little bit.
Yeah, we don't like to stay too static here.
No, we like to keep improving the show to try to provide the best listener experience for you, dear listeners.
We had a conference room table about it. We all sat around. I pointed at graphs and charts and said, look at this line. Yeah. This line is bad.
And
it could be better.
So much sense to us, yeah. As business people.
Analytics, demographics, even.
So drawing inspiration from one of my favorite podcasts, My Favorite Murder, where the hosts tell each other about, not their favorite murders, because that would be bad, but tell each other about some sort of crime of the week.
About cases that they find especially fascinating.
Yeah, I think is probably how it originally started, and it's obviously taken on many forms, but I really thought that would be a fun way to do this Revive or Die, because, it's nice to be told about a show and not be the one to find out about it. And I love hearing about them from my friends.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what we've done. We've each picked a musical. A musical that it seemed like there was not enough documentation for to do a whole episode about. Although, to be honest, at least mine, I think we actually could have done a whole episode about it. And I might propose that maybe we consider doing that for the future. But we each chose one. Do we want to say which ones we chose right off the top? Or do we want to go one at a time?
Well, actually, Daphne chose for us.
That's true.
Did. That's true.
That's very
better.
True. Yep.
So the ones that we're covering today are 70, girls, 70.
Oh, yeah.
As if someone were saying to a group of girls, 70! That is the correct number, ladies.
That's exactly what it means.
Oh, great. Wonderful. I love that. Jill's was Home Sweet Homer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Continuing our long line of traditions of, I guess that kind of rhymes. And then mine is Rockabye Hamlet, which I chose because I am a big fan of Shakespeare, and anytime I hear the words rock and Hamlet and Shakespeare in a sentence, I'm like, go on. So that's what we're going to be covering today.
All right. Is there any housekeeping we need to do before we begin?
Put your dishes in the sink, everyone.
Absolutely. Be a kind
test
housemate.
Those bookshelves. We're doing it.
Maybe vacuum if the carpets need it. All right. I'm going first, right?
You're going first.
Let me tell y'all about 70 Girls 70. 70 Girls 70, it's a musical. Obviously, that's why we're talking about it. Opened on Broadway on April 15th, 1971 at the Broadhurst Theater. 35 performances, 9 previews. Stars a whole bunch of veteran Broadway actors. It's based on a play. It's based on a play from 1958 called Breath of Spring by a man named Peter Koch.
C-O-K-E or
C-O-K, like a nice glass of Coke.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
absolutely.
Okay.
Peter Koch, and it's a John Kander and Fred Ebb show.
Yay!
It's a show by 2 of the most celebrated Broadway composers of their time. In my opinion, one of the best Broadway composing teams ever. Full stop. And it's definitely not it's not the first time we've covered them on this show. We talked about them for Scottsboro Boys. And it's not even close to the last either.
No, certainly not.
2 incredible Broadway composers. They really only had like a couple hits.
I think like 2
2 home runs.
2 home
and
runs.
1 like really solid hit.
Yes.
So the 2 home runs would be Cabaret and Chicago, and then Kiss of the Spider Woman was a really solid hit.
Yeah.
Like, what am I saying? Kiss of the Spider Woman was an enormous hit. It just hasn't enjoyed like the multiple revivals
Yes.
Yeah.
that the other 2 did. It was a huge
Exactly.
hit. There's no denying that.
An equally nice show, but not quite as popular as the other 2.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Didn't have the legs, the 8 legs that it needed.
The
Carry
8
us
prehensile legs.
And like most of the rest of their catalog, and there's a lot of great shows in their catalog, including Scottsboro Boys, really never connected. Which seems weird when you think about these composers who like are thought of in history as the successors to Rodgers and Hammerstein, you know?
I love to think about that.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
So this is one of their shows that just didn't connect, and it might be because it's about a group of larcenous old folks who steal furs from various New York City stores with the intent of using the proceeds from their resale to buy their Upper West Side retirement hotel, the New Sussex Arms, which is slated to be sold by developers.
Okay, guys,
Wow.
we can save our retirement home if we just put on one big show.
And steal just a little bit.
And you said one big show because they're old people living in this retirement home who are thieves, and they're also retired Broadway performers.
No.
Okay,
can't.
I was joking because that's a trope. That
I know
Yes.
you keep on joking, and it
Yes.
keeps on being correct
Yeah.
about 70 Girls 70.
Okay, first of all, before I find anything more out about this show, I just
Yep.
want to say I think I would like it.
I think you would.
like it.
I like this show. This is a very bizarre show. I'll kind of give us a quick rundown through the plot. The
Yeah.
plot's got twists and turns.
What?
It's definitely not a perfect show, but this is y'all. This show's good. I think this show might be good.
Oh my gosh.
I
Tell
love
us
it.
more.
Got a revival as specifically a vehicle for older Broadway actors.
Yeah.
That'd be
It's-
really nice, like an Angela Lansbury.
Okay,
Yeah.
once again, said as a joke, it has.
I'm just gonna stop talking. Paul,
played-
this is your show.
I know it played in 1991. It had a really nice West End revival. It had a 2006 encores, all of which were really nice. Apparently,
I bet we could watch the encores.
we probably could. This is
bet
why
we
I.
could
This is
find
why
it.
I said if we like this, maybe we do a whole episode on 70 Girls 70.
Ooh.
Call back, dear friend of the podcast and resident Candor Neb expert Hal Wesley Rogers
Yes.
to make a guest appearance. Okay, so. Really quick, I'm not gonna go through like the entire plot 'cause it's a bit convoluted, it's a bit winding, and there's nothing more boring than just sitting listening to someone else crib a Wikipedia summary. But the short answer is the initial synopsis said it's about this group of retired Broadway performers. They're all living in the Sussex Arms in New York City. You know, it's that thing of like they call it a hotel, but it's like that thing that went on in New York where it's like these hotels are like long-term residences.
Yeah.
Where someone will be living at the Chelsea Hotel or whatever the case may
Totally.
be.
Right.
So they all live at the Sussex Arms, and it's like not in great shape. We meet Ida Dodd is our main character. She's one of the favorites at the Sussex Arms.
Okay.
And she wasn't able to be admitted to hospitals, even though she's very old and sick, because she doesn't have enough money.
Yes.
She goes to a pharmacy, and the
Okay.
pharmacist is a dick to her, and so she steals a thermometer, and she's like, "That felt really good. I'm gonna keep on stealing, and I'm gonna recruit all my friends at the Sussex Arms, and we're gonna go stealing together." So
God.
But this is like actually a huge thing with older people.
is it
because-
actually?
Yeah, it's like a thing where like if you're invisible to society, you just kind of like, I don't know, start to be like, I can use my powers of invisibility for
Yeah.
evil, and then just start like stealing stuff.
And you're
everyone's
on
like,
a fixed income.
you're on a fixed income. But also
Right.
it's like if anyone ever's like, hey ma'am, you didn't pay for that, you can just like play the senility card and no one
Absolutely.
questions it. I don't know, this is a thing. This is a thing that
that's
some
so
older people will
interesting.
do for shits and gigs.
So they continue on stealing bigger and bigger things. They're stealing fur coats. There's they go through the show as well. This group of senior citizens kind of ranting about the state of the world these days. Where at one point they're trying to pull a con, and they're trying to get this clerk out of the way so they can pull this con where they're trying to sell a fake painting, because very quickly they become like Ocean's 11 style
Oh my
thieves.
god! Like they get really good really fast.
But also, to get the clerk out of the way, two of the old people, Melba and Fritzy, sing a song about how the trouble with the world today is always getting coffee in a cardboard cup.
What?
They're complaining about disposable cups. It used to be better when you got porcelain mugs.
Cup.
Of all the things that are wrong with the world, that's where we're starting.
So, we're at about the halfway point of the show when the cops visit the Sussex Arms.
Yes.
And they all freak out. So they're like, oh, let's make sure to pretend to be like really old and not really with it.
Yeah.
To get them off our scent.
Hide your jewels.
They do exactly that. They act like they're deaf and maybe a little bit senile. And then the cops leave and they're like, oh, geez, the cops are onto us. Okay, we have to be careful. We can only do one more heist. And that we're only going to steal enough money to buy the Sussex Arms so that it's not torn down. And how much is that?
70 girls.
70 girls, 70. I guess $70,000 is what they need.
Oh, it's $70.
Oh,
Yeah.
So this is like 98,000. Damn, like from the Heights, but it's like 70 girls. 70.
Damn. $70,000. Turns out the cops weren't actually there to because they were suspicious at all. They were just like, oh, we should go to that friendly group of old folks and see if they know anything about the robberies.
Yeah.
Anyways, they the last job turns out to be a disaster. They end up going to the International Fur Show to steal a whole bunch of furs. They're almost caught, and Ida, our main character...
Fur Show. Sorry, did no one catch that?
No, I did. I'm still hung up on
You're just
Fritzy,
ignoring
but
it. Yeah.
So they almost get caught, and Ida, our main character, like, heroic sacrifices so the rest can get away. It's like, I'll let myself be captured so that they can escape.
The dialogue was probably like, I got you into this mess, I'll get you out, and then she sacrifices herself.
Ida gets captured and gets taken away to be put in jail, and before she can get put into jail, she dies.
What?
I swear to God.
Downer ending.
Whoa.
And then the show ends with Ida in the afterlife.
No, that's staying in. I'm sorry.
The show ends with Ida in the afterlife sitting on the moon. That's where afterlife came from.
Wait,
Okay.
what?
Okay.
I'm saying, yeah, yes.
Please
Sitting
continue.
on the moon, watching two of her colleagues and friends get married.
To who?
To each other.
Oh,
They're like, there's like a romantic subplot of two of these.
You're calling
old folks.
the robbers colleagues now?
you guys, they should have called it Partners in Crime.
Aww.
Yeah, there we go.
What an oversight.
And that's how the show ends.
Wow.
Is she's Ida's on the moon being like, oh, do one last number. Come on. Because they're all retired Broadway stars.
Right.
So that's 70 Girls 70.
They should do this once a year at every dinner theater that exists.
Yes, they
ever.
should.
Right?
You know? Oh.
Interesting things. Obviously, each production has starred like veteran stage actors of their era. That's kind of the whole thing of the show, is to give these more seasoned Broadway actors, where traditionally they don't have a ton of really meaty roles written for them, which is a huge problem in our industry, giving them a chance to really shine. And by like a lot of accounts, it does that. It's really delightful. During the original production, veteran Broadway actor David Burns, who was one of the members of the cast, died on stage from a heart attack.
What? Wait, on stage?
Collapsed on stage. Yeah.
What? Oh no.
And died soon after. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not uncommon. Obviously, it's really tragic and it's really hard. That wouldn't be the worst way for me to go. You know what I mean? If I could choose something.
I was thinking that.
What if you died on the button for a song? Like on the donk, you just collapsed on your
donk.
piano.
Right,
you
on
know,
the
I hope
donk.
I go on a donk.
Oh. I wanna pass away in my dressing room, having just like finished a really nice run.
Drinking,
you know what I mean? Having
scotch.
a scotch in my dressing room after a show.
Right.
Everyone comes and finds me with my baton in one hand, glass of scotch in the other. That's wheel me out. Absolutely.
Aw, that's kind of like beautiful. Sad and beautiful.
Right?
I'm just so intrigued. I have so many questions.
I know, right?
Who was in the original cast that we would know?
Not a ton of names that I know,
Okay.
at the very least. But I'm also, by 1971, these were legendary actors. I'm sure these will mean a lot to a lot of people who have like deep Broadway minds.
Got it.
So we're talking Mildred Natwick, Lillian Roth.
Lillian Roth sounds so familiar to me.
Lillian Roth is in a ton of things. She did a bunch of movies with Paramount, including she's in the Marx Brothers movie Animal Crackers, which is a big old movie. Right. She's in I Can Get It For You Wholesale, which is like Barbra Streisand's first musical.
Yes.
The national tour of Funny Girl, playing Mrs. Bryce.
Oh,
like
right.
Fanny Bryce's mom.
Yeah.
And this was already following a really successful like early Broadway and film career.
That's so cool.
Oh sure, and like all of the performers are kind of that similar, that same pedigree. So like we're talking appearances on I Love Lucy. We're talking appearances on in early Broadway plays and musicals, really before Broadway had become codified as what it is.
Right.
But something that was for the time, it would have been like, what's in a modern equivalent? Like it would have been the equivalent of seeing like Betty White.
Right.
Sure.
On,
Star of stage and screen, and then
exactly
you're
like
oh, that's
where Betty
nice.
White's only really got the one big thing, which was like Golden Girls, right?
Yeah.
But it would be so exciting to be like, oh, check it out! There, Betty White's carrying one more show.
Totally.
Go check it out.
Right.
Absolutely.
Or like Diane Keaton would be like
Yes.
amazing in this musical.
The Golden Girls commit a
absolutely.
heist. I
Oh
want
my
it.
gosh, let's bring be Arthur. Oh. R.I.P. all the Golden Girls.
The 2006 encores had Olympia Dukakis in it.
Love her.
Do you know who Bob Dishy is?
No, what a name.
Right?
I love all of the names that you've shared with us so far about this production.
That's not a leftover from the housekeeping bit we did before, is it? The dishies.
Anita Gillette, who was in
Sounds so fake.
Heir to the
She was
Razor
in-
Fortune?
she was in Bob and Carol and
Sorry.
Ted and Alice.
I know. I just
Plenty of really interesting performers.
totally.
There's not a ton of documentation on why it didn't play in its initial Broadway run, other than some speculation as to it was presented in a pretty big, extravagant way in its initial production.
Got it.
The 1991 West End, which had a limited run, had like a 3 or 4 month run, but was very successful. There's like an interview with the director talking about it, and they speculate that the reason that their production is successful is because it's much more stripped down. They've reduced the orchestration, they've reduced the sets, they've reduced the cast. So if I had to speculate, I would say that it's probably that the original production tried to go too big, tried to be the big old Broadway musical.
Yeah.
Where it seems like the real charm of this production is these veterans bouncing off each other. You know what I mean? Like it's not, I mean, it'd be great to see them dance or really hear them sing or something, but what's really charming is just watching them, get them on stage, let them do their thing, and that's going to be charming.
Yes.
And I think, nope, that's not it, because I also want to just talk about the music really briefly.
Yeah.
The music fucking rocks.
Yes.
It's great. It's like fantastic. Golden Age Candor and Ebb. Obviously not Golden Age of musicals, Golden Age of Candor
Of
and
theirs,
Ebb.
yeah.
Writing really charming music, really great. I would recommend everyone there. It's really well documented in a really nice cast recording that I would recommend everyone check out because it's great. I want to encourage theaters across the country and the world to do this show.
Yeah.
I want to work on a production of this show. I can already think of many performers I've worked with who are of this caliber and of this age at this point.
Yes.
Who I would love to see, and we should consider doing it as a community.
Can you name some? So you mentioned Coffee in a Cardboard Cup.
70 Girls 70 is also a song.
96,000.
No, exactly.
96,000.
It starts with a song called like Old Folks,
Okay.
which is all of them being like, we're old folks.
We're old.
This is what we do. We used to be on Broadway. Now we live in the Sussex Arms.
Or something.
Or something. There's a song called Go Visit Your Grandmother,
Oh, that's cute.
which I didn't have a chance to listen to in my dive on this, but
Right.
I can
But you
I can
will.
parse what it is. Yeah, I definitely will. There's a really nice song between the two lovers in the show called like Dewey,
Aw.
which is it's all
sounds
very
nice.
it's very nice and very cute. It's
like that.
as a very forgotten Candor and Ebb show. I think it's fantastic, and it always blows my mind. Same as like with Scottsboro Boys, where it's like I feel like a lot of the time producers are like, where's that that show that no one ever does? Where's the hidden gem? And they're right here, and they're all written by Candor and Ebb.
Yeah.
Like these are the hidden gems. You know what I mean? Just check them out. Do that, or
Yeah.
do Scottsboro Boys, or like I don't know. I haven't checked out Steel Pier yet, but I bet it's great.
Yes.
So I'm happy to say for our first Revive or Die, if the question is, for 70 Girls 70, do we revive or do we let it dive? I think you gotta revive it across
Based
the board.
on you've really sold it to me, but I also think it sounds incredibly charming.
Yeah.
And knowing Candor and Ebb as a composing duo, I trust that they would not mislead us into a terrible, terrible show.
It does seem like the kind of thing that would make like the perfect Broadway fundraiser.
Yes.
Like you get a bunch of like veteran actors together once a year to raise money for some awesome cause.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, I get to, why, I don't know, I'm just stuck on Angela Lansbury. Angela Lansbury
Yeah,
is going to be
yeah.
in this production.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sutton Foster in old age makeup is going to be in this production. etc., etc.
But like Patti LuPone is
Patti
the
She's getting there.
LuPone, Bernadette, like
She's playing Joanne in a company these days,
for
right?
the second time.
That's right. Yeah, that's what she said.
Joanne at any age.
Yeah.
But truly.
Yeah, I just think that would be
yes.
delightful. And also, one of my favorite tropes is like the veteran anything coming back for one last
night,
thing.
Yeah.
So there's like this wonderful meta level of like these actors themselves coming back for a one night only thing. I love that.
Yes.
So that's 70 Girls 70.
Wow. What a way to begin.
Yeah, I thought so. Hey, what a beautiful, sweet show. Very, like, it seems very farcical, very, like, laugh a minute. There's lots of, oh, this heist didn't go as planned. And I think that sounds very charming.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. What about Home Sweet Homer?
Oh my gosh. Okay, before I begin, I would like to ask a question of Daphne.
Yes.
What? I'm curious, and this is not, I'm not trying to be sassy. I actually want to ask you why you picked this for me. Like, because you picked only based on the name pretty much, right?
Pretty
in
much
the year.
only based on the name. And also I have just so enjoyed our foray into the men's name Broadway cinematic universe.
Yes.
So it was like partially random, but also just like, I want to know what's going on here.
Yes.
Like, what else?
Oh, like Hurry Harry and
Hurry
Happy
Harry.
as Larry.
Happy as
Larry. Yep.
We've got it all, and now
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Homer.
Yeah.
Not that Homer. Well, it's
Not-
Homer.
Not that Homer or that Homer?
Well, it's the first Homer,
The OG
not
Homer.
the cartoon one.
So it's not Homer Simpson, but it is Homer, the Greek poet and author?
Uh-huh.
All right,
So-
there you
Makes
go.
sense. Of course it is.
All right, everybody, here we go. Home Sweet Homer. I hope you're still with us after this. So previews began for this play. It ran at the Palace Theater. So previews began on Boxing Day, December 26th, 1975. It opened on January 4th, 1976, and closed on January 4th, 1976, after 11 previews and 1 performance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's
Now
not too many performances.
Well, it had out-of-town tryouts as well, and I can't remember where they were, but we'll kind of get to that because that's some of what I think the catastrophe surrounding this production are. Okay,
Great.
So I pulled a synopsis off Wikipedia because surprisingly, there's not a lot of information in the world about this show. Wow, I'm so surprised. So Wikipedia says, originally called Odyssey, which is a way better name, by the way, but in the 70s we wanted quippy things.
Yes.
And we want to know that the name of our main
We
character
just need
is
to
the
know
title
immediately.
of the show.
So originally called Odyssey, it is one of the most notorious flops in Broadway theater history. Loosely based on Homeric legend, it focuses on Odysseus and Penelope awaiting his return to Ithaca.
So it's like the Odyssey.
Yep.
Great. I love
Also,
the Odyssey.
Once
I
again,
love...
we're getting to this whole like Greek chorus thing.
Yes.
What is going on?
This recalls the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Which is like an Odyssey adaptation as well that I think
Right.
works really well. I'm trying to front load this because I get the sense that Homer Sweet Homer is not good. So I'm trying to put as much good art into the world as possible.
So a lot of the members of this team are also members of the team that brought us Man of La Mancha, which was incredibly successful. Over 2,600 performances, I think, in the end. And this would have been about 10 years before Home Sweet Homer.
Very interesting.
Yes. So the music for this was written by Mitch Lee, who, yes, wrote Man of La Mancha, but also had no other really successful shows after Man of La Mancha. So,
But he wrote Dream the Impossible Dream, and so he never has to work again in his life.
right.
Yeah.
Yes. So the book was by Roland Kibbe and Albert Marr.
Okay.
So Albert Marr you're going to hear of a lot
Yeah.
when I talk today because he also directed it and he did the musical staging of this. So he was busy on this production. So Roland Kibbe, one of the book writers, was an Emmy Award-winning writer, and he worked on like Columbo,
Oh, wow.
which I thought was kind of cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he worked on Columbo and did a few other like TV shows, and I think he had 2 or 3 Emmys or something, which I think is so interesting.
We've had a few TV writers on Broadway flops in the past. I know there was one that was on Margaritaville, but I can't remember what it was now.
Yeah, it was the guy from My Name is Earl or
My
whatever,
Name is Earl,
right?
totally.
Yes.
I
And
can't
then
recall his name, but
American Psycho was the guy from Riverdale.
Yes.
oh yeah, that's right.
And I just love doing these comparisons of like, is that how people felt then? Like, what was,
Yeah.
how was Columbo regarded versus how Riverdale's regarded these
Sure.
days? You know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would change
Right?
like how some context would change the way we would feel
wonder.
about that.
Okay, so anyway, so
Yeah.
wrote Columbo.
Okay, and then Albert Marr
Yep.
directed Kismet.
Oh,
And
interesting.
won whatever the Tonys were called before the Tonys. It was called it was like some other random award, but he won that for Kismet.
Very good theater award.
Good job, theater award. And also directed La Mancha, for which he won a Tony. They were called the Tonys by then.
Great.
And I think that was only a year after Kismet, so that was a pretty quick shift. And then he was also married to our star, Joan Diener, which is kind of amazing. So
Saucy.
there's a very connected group of people here.
Very, yeah.
Lyrics by Charles Burr, who shares the same name as like a what are they called? Like a jockey, like a horse jockey.
Sure.
So he was hard to track down in terms of like information about him, but I think he was like a radio guy.
Did you try looking up Charles Burr, sir?
I mean, that depends.
Pardon
Who's
me,
asking?
are you Charles Burr, sir? This is the second Lin-Manuel
I was
thing
just going to
we've
say, I'm going to try to
brought
keep
up.
on bringing back Lin-Manuel
Yes.
lyrics now.
Okay,
for
we're
the-
going to try to do that for Daph's as well.
Charles Burr, no horse.
So he was like a radio guy. I found it interesting that his job was to write the descriptions of the music and the artists for the back of like the album
Oh,
covers.
that's so funny.
But he did the lyrics to this play, so now I'm like, oh wait,
What a
what?
weird job you were given.
Yeah. And then Foreman Brown was, I believe, a puppeteer.
Oh,
and
Great.
I think so, like a puppeteer and writer as well.
Are there
Who
puppets in
did-
this show?
Well, not that I could find, but it wouldn't
We-
like surprise me.
Like, we have to
that's
assume
disappointing.
if there was... Or is he
No, he
credited
was
as the
doing the
puppeteer on the show?
lyrics.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
If there's a puppeteer on the show, y'all, there's got to be puppets.
Well,
but no, I
yeah.
misunderstood.
Your mistake. Yeah. Music direction by Ross Reimuller. MD for Gigi in 73 and then Porgy and Bess in 76. But other
Great.
than that, no Broadway credits, but I'm sure
That's a nice little Broadway career, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
And then the music was orchestrated by Burl Red, who orchestrated Violet and also Caroline or Change.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I'll mention that I was only able to find one song.
Okay.
Okay.
I imagine this cast album exists as maybe a record
Yeah.
somewhere, but it's not on YouTube. It's nowhere to be found. I found one audio clip of Joan Diener singing whatever ballad from the show, but it was very clearly like recorded in the space.
Yep.
It wasn't a special studio recording.
But was there a studio recording made?
Not that I could find.
Very interesting. Which would make sense as well if it was no success. Like
Yeah.
the same deal as Lestat or something that we covered where they just didn't even get around to making the studio recording.
Totally.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that the majority of the budget probably went to hiring individuals, but also the design.
Sure.
Now, I can't prove that because I couldn't find any pictures of the set,
Yeah.
but I saw some of the costumes that
Sure.
were very ornate.
Like, is it set in ancient Greece?
Like, yeah, they've got like tunics on
Sure.
and lots of, but it's like very jewel heavy. Like
Okay.
there's gems all over, and I'm like, that's not very practical. Like if I were living in ancient Greece, I probably wouldn't have like jewels on my clothes.
And also, when I think of like a big Broadway musical, I guess like Forum does that. Funny thing happened to the way in the Forum.
But
Never
like
mind,
in a tongue-in-cheek way.
in a tongue-in-cheek way,
Whereas,
yeah,
like,
I was
this
like-
is very, to me, like they're taking it so seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
Howard Bay
Yeah.
did the design, and he has hundreds of credits. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding you.
totally.
Hundreds of design credits, both lighting and costumes.
Great.
Design. Yeah, all of it. Costume, lighting, and scenic design. Like,
Every
he can
element
do it
of
all.
theater, he's in there.
Yeah, he's touched any sort of design side of things. Like Pal Joey, the original Music Man.
Wow.
Showboat. Like, this is a very busy
So he's not
person.
fucking around. Yeah.
Found a little bit of sort of like trivia on the Wikipedia page that would maybe help us understand
Love it.
what was going
Great.
on.
Because like, is it literally just like the Odyssey?
Yeah,
So we've got like the Cyclops and the Sirens.
I
and
guess.
Right?
I could not find like anything.
Great. So we've adapted the famously sprawling epic, The Odyssey.
Yeah.
What went wrong? What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? So they did like a tour it says.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming this was like an out of town, like a couple stops, like a couple cities before they went to New York. And I guess the contracts had all of this kind of built into it. So everyone is expected to be part of it for a long time.
Yep.
So it says here, the tour was plagued with problems from the start. Both Brynner and co-star Joan Diener frequently were ill and missed performances. In April of 75, this is almost a full year before it opened on Broadway, by the way. Okay. So in April 75, the two, together with Diener's husband Marr, Albert Marr, the director / everything in this.
Albert Marr, sorry.
For the record, Paul is currently looking around, beaming with pride at that really funny joke he just made.
Anyone?
There's nobody else in the room.
So that April, it says the two, together with Diener's husband Marr and Brynner's wife Jacqueline, filed a $7.5 million lawsuit against Trader Vic's in Manhattan, alleging that short ribs they ate there shortly before the start of the tour were poisonous and had left them ill, weak, and infirm. Like, I hate to laugh, but it just seems so ridiculous.
That's so funny.
That's very funny.
It just seems so ridiculous. So everyone was sick, and by everyone I mean the two stars of the play were sick from the beginning.
Well, then also, what's the law? Like,
I know.
Even if it, like, food poisoning sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's like a 48-hour ordeal, you know what I mean? Your body just voids it all, and then you're good.
Unless it was, like, there
actually
were
poisoned.
prolonged, like, health problems due to which can
some
happen.
bad short ribs. I guess so, sure, fair enough.
But, like, I don't know. It just seems so extreme to me.
So
I don't
and, like,
know.
That kind of food poisoning is extremely rare.
Right?
Trader Vic's.
Or, like, medium rare, I guess. In this.
But
I think extremely rare was the problem. Yeah.
So the other thing I'll bring up, if you, and I encourage you to both Google the image search this, because it'll be a lot of pictures of, some drawings, some illustrations for the poster, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But then there's a playbill cover, and I don't know if it ended up being the Broadway playbill cover or maybe the tour, like a touring program, but it is like a sexy cover. It's like a ghost kind of sexy cover.
Is this show sexy?
And then I wonder, okay, it
funny?
must be like sexy. It looks sexy and serious. So, Daph, I don't know if you're able to find Home Sweet Homer.
Okay, for the record, what I'm currently Googling, it appears as though DuckTales did an episode of the same name.
Oh, sure.
In which Scrooge appears to be embodying Homer's Odyssey.
Was it an adaptation?
Yes. Loosely. I mean, I'm only just looking at
what
appears to be
of the musical.
Like a sexy pig lady, but there's just a lot happening here in my Google search history.
There is almost nothing I am less interested in than a serious, sexy Odyssey musical starring Yul Brynner. That sounds horrendous.
But he was like hot for the time.
Sure, okay. Fair enough.
I think, maybe. So there is this sort of illustration that we see, right? The sort of classic, what's his name? Who's that artist?
It's like the Sardis characters, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So there's that imagery, but there's also this really, really sexy.
Oh, yes, I'm looking at this now. Yes.
Yul Brynner looking all Vin Diesel.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Joan Diener is like so hot.
Absolutely.
Like, look at them.
Like that could be the poster for Fast and Furious 10.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so for those of you listening to this audio-based medium, Yul Brynner and Joan Diener are like doing the kind of almost kissing thing where they're like in each other's arms and like panting heavily in each other's faces.
Yep.
And like staring at each other's lips, and you're like, okay.
When this episode drops, can we maybe like post that poster on our Facebook or something on our Insta?
Totally should. So it was a very
that's
sexy
the opposite
image.
of what I expected. I was expecting like a laugh-a-minute Odyssey farce.
Yes, absolutely. So I thought that was really interesting to see something that sexy associated with a show I just didn't think would be that sexy.
Nope.
So as I was researching this show and I was on YouTube listening to that one clip, I did what I always do, which is look at the comments, because there's actually a lot to be gleaned from YouTube comments.
There's the people who are have much bigger Broadway minds than we do, throwing out like hot takes left and right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this person, Mr. Peter Devine, had a hot take as a person who actually saw the production.
Yes, Peter.
So Peter wrote in the comments, one had to see the show to understand why it did not work. An operetta score fighting with a light musical comedy book and one of the worst sets I've ever seen in a major musical. The show died on stage, never came to life. Russ Thacker and Yul had a duet that was the highlight of the score and the show. So thanks, Peter Devine, for helping us.
It's so interesting because when I think of Man of La Mancha, I do think of a musical comedy that is like almost a takedown of an epic story.
Yes.
And it seems like that's what some people thought they were doing here, but other people thought they were just doing goddamn Les Mis.
Right. Right. Yes. So anyway, that was interesting. And then I looked up the Tonys for 76, just to contextualize. Does anyone have any thoughts about what they think might have been the big winners?
76, Chorus Line.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely.
So,
Chorus Line. We said at the same time.
You did. If the timing was off, that's purely a glitch.
That's purely just...
I knew it, and I said it before Paul did.
Yeah. So Chicago was also nominated that year.
Sure. Yep.
So those were like unique productions.
Yep.
They weren't sort of like a rehashing of old formats either, which is something that I think this probably was, like you were just mentioning.
Absolutely. This sounds very dated for 76. Mm-hmm. When you consider that this is, like, Chorus Line is presumably down the street.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's, at the time, such a fresh, contemporary take on the industry and is like these... It's like just one step away from being verbatim theater and everyone's like, what? This is so cool.
Right.
And this is maybe in 65. You know what I mean?
I know. I was just going to say it's like 10 years too late.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I wish I had a little more access to the sounds of it, but I also sometimes, maybe I wish I don't because maybe I don't want to hear it. Maybe I really I want to just
love to. If anyone, I know some of our listeners are like big archivists. If anyone has any kind of documentation, be it a score or an archival or anything of Home Sweet Homer, I'd be very interested.
Send it to Paul, but not me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You check out 70 Girls 70 for a while.
Yeah.
I want to check out Home Sweet Homer.
That's good. Well, that's really all I have. I'm sorry I don't have much more than that, but I think
did it take any other noms in the
Oh no,
Tonys?
God
no!
no. I mean, they ran one performance. I feel like you blink and you'd miss that it even happened in the city.
That's so fascinating.
So, yeah.
I feel like their big mistake was right off the top is like the name. You've got the author's name, but not the name of the story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is interesting because, looking at the Yul Brynner, like the sexy cover, it's called The Odyssey on that Playbill cover.
Is it actually?
Right.
Which I think makes a lot more sense because, right off the top, the title makes me think we're going in for a farce.
Yes.
Exactly.
And
absolutely.
said we're not doing that. Now I'm very confused.
Yeah.
And
it
turned
is
on.
so weird.
Incredible.
Well, Thanks, pals, for listening.
Would you revive or would you let it dive?
Let's just let it
It's gotta die, right?
Let it die.
We don't need it.
All right, Daph.
Yay.
You're up.
All right. So I'm going to take you back to the year 1582.
That's way too far back, Daphne. New York doesn't exist.
Musicals don't exist.
No.
Okay, I'm doing a thing here. Okay, so the original title for this show, Rockabye Hamlet, was Kronborg 1582.
No, it wasn't.
I know this show. This is the show that they just put up a couple years ago at Charlottetown.
I'm getting to that, Paul. You have people have no respect for narrative flow.
Okay, go.
Okay, so it was originally commissioned by the CBC under the name Kronborg 1582, and then for some reason, who can say, was changed to Rockabye Hamlet, which is a way better title.
Oh my god. It does roll off the tongue.
And also, I don't feel like I'm watching, like, a sci-fi epic.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, watching, like, a David Cronenberg special. I don't know. But it was also known as Something's Rockin' in Denmark. Which I think is a wonderful title.
Oh, this is amazing already.
So funny. So Something's rocking in the state of Denmark.
It sure is. So if Denmark's rockin', don't come a knockin'. And it seems like very few people did because it opened, so first preview was January 26th, 1976. It opened February 17th, 1976. And it closed on February 21st, 1976 after 21 previews and 7 performances.
Woo! That was like right after my show.
Yeah.
So
right at the same time, Home Sweet Homer and Rockabye Hamlet.
Playing across the street. So I can't find a lot about the actual plot synopsis. I'm assuming because it's Hamlet.
Right.
And
Right.
for those of you who don't know Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, Hamlet, his father, who is the King of Denmark, dies under mysterious circumstances, and his uncle marries his mom. The uncle, Hamlet suspects, has killed his dad. Turns out he's totally right. His dad comes back as a ghost to confirm this. And his dad's like, Hamlet, you should totally kill your uncle because he killed me.
Avenge me.
Avenge me, Hamlet. And Hamlet pretends to be suffering a mental breakdown, and then is actually suffering a mental breakdown. And then by the end of the play, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
That's my plot synopsis for Hamlet.
Totally.
Watch the Kenneth Branagh movie.
Watch the Kenneth Branagh movie. Watch the 1994 adaptation starring Jeremy Irons, Matthew Broderick, and James Earl Jones.
Also, because I don't think it's possible to be in Winnipeg and not mention this, Keanu Reeves came and played Hamlet at the
Yes,
Royal
he did.
Manitoba Theatre Centre
Yes,
right
he
after
did.
he made Speed.
Apparently he didn't shower much, but he's very nice.
That's what I understand as well.
As a segue to that, the poster on Wikipedia tells me my favorite fact about this show, which is that it had a revival in 2014 that was directed by Pep Speed.
That's the name?
Pep Speed.
That sounds like a children's
Is
movie.
is the first name, it was directed, that's the director, that's a person's name.
By Pep,
Pep?
Speed.
Is the first name Pep?
Yes.
And the last name Speed?
Yes.
Pep Speed.
I
Not
love that.
Pepsi. Pep Speed.
Okay, so this show has actually done pretty well for itself. It's gotten a number of kind of revivals, so like 1981, 2008, 2013, 2014, 2017. And something that's kind of interesting about it is that it's staged as a rock concert, and the original production was choreographed by Gower Champion.
Oh, amazing. Okay.
Other notables in the cast include Beverly D'Angelo as Ophelia, Larry Marshall as Hamlet, and Meatloaf as the priest.
Yay!
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Meatloaf was in the original Rockabye
Yes, he
Hamlet.
was.
Meatloaf, rest
He
in
was
peace.
indeed.
Oh, see, that would actually be... Okay, I'm actually falling in love with the idea of
Right?
this show as you talk about it.
And like the fun thing is that the production by the Ophelia Theatre Group, whose poster is on Wikipedia,
Pep Speed.
Pep Speed, they made the decision to frame it as like a group of players who are putting on the
Yes.
story of Hamlet.
Love that.
Which is kind of nice because it plays really nicely with the stark production that was originally done, where it really is just like a rock concert with very minimalist set, really just incredible costumes. If you look on Playbill.com, they have some incredible archival photos of like this glam rock, Phantom of the Paradise, Freddie Mercury kind of costuming. It's very impressive, but yeah, the set is like nothing. It's just like straight up a rock concert in the 1970s. Yeah, so it's done pretty well for itself. It got a minor cast recording. Unfortunately, not a lot of members of the original cast are on this recording. We've got Rory Dodd, who played Horatio in the original production. And also a song on this album is by the Irish Rovers.
Oh.
Yes.
Great.
Interesting. What a variety.
Notable songs on the original song list are Have I Got a Girl for You?
Yes. I got a girl for you. Wait till
You
you
meet
meet
her.
her.
I got a
Oh,
girl
wait,
for
no,
you,
that's
boy.
Company.
Oh, boy.
The Wart song? He got it in the ear.
Yeah, you did.
Hey!
You got what in the ear?
Exclamation mark.
Hey, exclamation mark. Hey!
Does that come just
Hey.
before he got it in the ear?
No.
Is that him getting it in the ear? Hey!
Your Daddy's Gone Away. The Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Boogie.
Of course.
No, it's
that's
not.
the Act 2 tap number.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's gotta be an Act 2 tap number.
Yeah, and Sword Fight. That's just the name of the song is Sword Fight.
Wow.
And I think that's delightful.
I'm into this.
Yeah, it's just like the information I've been able to find on it has just tickled my fancy in the most delightful way. I think also this show just lends itself really well to multiple revivals because like it's Hamlet. Who's gonna stop doing Hamlet? Now there's a
Yeah.
rock element. Great, I'm interested.
Yeah. And you don't have to pay anyone royalties on Hamlet.
Like you have to pay some royalties for like the songs.
Sure, for
Yep,
the
but
songs. Yeah, but I just mean like
That would-
when
that-
you're creating a show that is a riff
They
on...
didn't have to pay
Yeah,
any
they didn't
royalties
have
to adapt the story.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that opens them up for a lot of
Absolutely.
like possibilities.
Yes. So the book, music, and lyrics are all written by the same person, Cliff Jones. And because they did do a cast recording, there are a couple of songs available on YouTube.
Yeah.
And from what I listened, it's like very like emo 1970s rock.
Love it.
Yeah.
Which works so well for Hamlet because he's a sad little boy.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of loving everything I've learned about this show in the best way possible because I think a glam rock version of Hamlet sounds freaking delightful.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is Rockabye Hamlet. That is Thank You Dragons.
I did not realize when I was like, absolutely, you should review this one, Daph, that Rockabye Hamlet was the musical that became Kronberg 1582 or whatever it is at the Charlottetown Festival. Do you remember this in 2017 when it was? I was keyed into this at this time. I think this was I was spending a little more time in Toronto than I do nowadays.
yeah.
So I like had this happening because everyone was like buzzing about, oh, they're doing this, they're reviving this super old, obscure Canadian musical, and they're bringing it up at the Charlottetown Festival, and they're gonna like punch it up and make it great, and we'll see where it goes. And then it never went anywhere.
Wow.
Why doesn't this show go anywhere, Daph?
This is what I couldn't find any reviews. I couldn't find any critical reception. So I'm a little bit at a loss, to be honest, as to why this, like, it seems like it's gotten revived a bunch of times, but like it hasn't really seemed to like find its footing as like, oh dang, Rockabye Hamlet's in town.
Like taking its place beside Jesus Christ Superstar and like Chess and stuff that like as the 1970s rock opera, you know?
Yeah. Well, the other thing that I'm not clear on, just based off like the fact that it is a Shakespeare adaptation, is like how much of the Shakespeare is still in it.
In terms of the dialogue and stuff?
Yeah, and so like I can't really find anything about like, okay, so you've got all these like original songs. How did that play with either completely rewritten dialogue or Shakespearean text? Because if I had to wager a guess, I might say not well.
I'm virtually certain that someone listening to this show saw the 2017 Charlottetown version.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone knows anything about this
Or saw it.
let us know. Reach out. I would be so fascinated to know a little bit more about Rockabye Hamlet / Kronberg 776 or whatever it's
1776. Let's bring it back to Hamilton, everybody.
/ Something's Rockin' in Denmark.
Oh, that's right.
Which is
What's
so
a
great.
Lin-Manuel Miranda lyric that we can use for Rockabye Hamlet?
I don't know.
I don't
that
have one
there's
either. I don't have one either.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come to you in a
Rockabye
minute.
Hamilton. I don't know.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
No, it's not. Don't patronize me.
Alexander Hamlet. My name is Alexander Hamlet. No, that's no good. We don't like that one.
I'm pretty sure his first and last name is just Hamlet, so he's Hamlet.
Hamlet.
What's the actual number?
1582.
Kronberg 1582.
There you go.
You know
That's
how they do
better.
that thing at the
Yes.
He is not gonna kill his uncle.
We did it. We made 3
Well, there you
Lin-Manuel
go.
references.
And
Before we
would
go.
you revive or let it dive?
Revive.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
let's bring it
agree.
back again and again.
I'm not the first one that thought we should revive it. I'm like,
Apparently
yes.
not.
Yes, let's do this. Let's make a rock version of Hamlet with emo love songs. I am into it.
Yeah, that's
The
a fun
only
idea.
reason I'm hesitant is because Charlottetown went for it. You know what I mean? And like recently went for like the let's find the Canadian musicals and like let's ride the Canadian musical boom that Drowsy started and Come From Away really took to the top.
Yeah.
And nothing happened.
Okay, but we've since had a pandemic.
That's true. That was 2017.
And
Yeah.
I wonder if collectively we're after something else now. We might have, as a society, we've all
Yeah.
changed a lot, and maybe we'd be more open to it now.
And also,
Yeah,
I want to know what the
fair enough.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern boogie is.
It's I
want to
guarantee
know.
it's the Act
Great.
2 tap number, but
It's
hey,
the Act 2 tap number.
in my
where
show it is. And
these two people that we haven't seen for the entire show, who are Hamlin's college buddies, just come on stage and are like,
and
yeah.
they just do it time step over
Yes.
and over.
And then someone just sings, "Hey!"
Yeah.
They tap off stage.
There's something in my ear.
He got it in the ear.
There's Get that thing out of my ear.
I'm excited by this play.
So if we were going to rank these from top to bottom, I like this format. This is a lot more fun because I had no idea. I had no opinion on the other two going
I
in.
know, it's
and now I
kinda
very
nice.
have quickly formed opinions. It seems like best is 70 Girls 70, then Rockabye Hamlet,
Yep.
then Home Sweet Home.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree
I
with
agree
that
with that.
ranking
Yeah.
system.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say we could probably revive those first two without even a thought, and
Let's
then
do them in rep, baby.
Yeah, like
Yeah, one night is Rockabye Hamlet, one night is 70 Girls 70. Yeah, let's take this off mic because we're getting into a
Great.
business discussion now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another round of Revive or Die. We're going to be back next time with, can I say what we're hoping to do next time?
Well, you could, but isn't it kind of taboo?
What a funny drop Daphne Finlayson, Producer Daph just did there, because we're hoping to look at Taboo with a very special guest, someone else from I guess you would say someone else from the old days. It feels weird to say that now because she still remains a very good friend of ours. We're going to do Taboo with very special guest Tatiana Carnevali.
Woohoo!
We're going to talk about Taboo, which Tad is obsessed with. I know Taboo mainly from that documentary about the 2006 Tony Awards race, 2007 Tony Awards race. I can't remember which one, where it's this documentary they started making following 3 shows that were the 3 frontrunners for the best musical Tony.
How did I not know
Avenue
about
Q,
this?
Wicked, and Taboo. And it ends up being a very fascinating story where it looked like Wicked was the frontrunner to take it.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Avenue Q took it, and Taboo just kind of gets shunted to the side in this documentary.
Oh,
We'll talk a lot more about that on that episode.
OMG.
Join us next time, and until then,
Keep fit and have fun and get it in the ear.
Goodbye.
goodbye.
Hi everyone, this is producer Daphne speaking. Thank you all so much for listening to Monkeys and Playbills, the show where we take a look at Broadway musicals that had 100 performances or fewer before closing. To learn more about the show, you can follow us on Instagram at Monkeys and Playbills Pod, on Twitter at Monkey Playbills, or email us at monkeysandplaybillspod@gmail.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/monkeysandplaybills.
Super exciting. We now have merch available. Visit spring.com and search Monkeys and Playbills to find mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, and more designs coming soon.
Monkeys and Playbills is proud to be a Village Conservatory for Music Theater podcast. Original music for the show is provided by Paul DeGurse, and the show is produced and edited by Daphne Finlayson. Thank you all so much for listening, and join us next week where we take on
Taboo.